Chairperson?
Yeah.
Yeah, the interpreting has been sorted out for Mr. Archie Groener. I have also made Mr. Hank Smith the co-host so that he's able to share the presentation from his side. And from Department of Rural Development, I'm informed Mr. Moeketsi will be doing the presentation. I have also made him a co-host so that he's able to do their presentation after our guests. Then from the department, I will make the necessary person also the co-host from Public Enterprises. So that they are able to share if there's anything they would like to share. Yeah. And then from our guests, when the meeting, you can switch off your video when you are not speaking to save your data. However, when you speak, you are able to switch on your video. But for the duration of the meeting, as and when you are not on the platform, your audio must be off, your mic, because it will affect the other speakers on the platform. And then we'll appreciate that cooperation. Thanks a lot.
Good morning, all. I'm Donovan Majid from Honey Attorneys, the appointed administrator. I just want to announce that I'm online now. Thank you.
Okay, honorable members, time to start. This is the Portfolio Committee meeting of the Public Enterprise Portfolio Committee. And today we will be dealing with issues around Alexco. I hope everybody is ready to start the meeting. I want to take this opportunity to thank and welcome members of Parliament, first and foremost, who are the actually custodians of this session, and extend the welcome to the Department of Public Enterprise, which also today joined by the Department of Rural Development. We welcome the Minister and the Deputy Minister, including today the guests from Rechterveld community. Honorable members, we have received a request from members of Rechterveld community, and I think they will tell us more as to who they represent and what are the issues. The Department of Rural Development has been also invited to partake in this session, together with the Department of Public Enterprise, to respond on issues that will be raised by this community representative that are to make a presentation here. I have been also informed by the Secretary that there is also an interpreter who will be helping us to get the information clear, because they will be speaking Afrikaans, and we have an interpreter who will be helping us to understand their language from Afrikaans to English. Therefore, that's how our meeting is going to be unfolding today. Without wasting our time, I'll give to Secretary if there is any apologies and him thereafter to take us through as to how we're going to proceed. And I understand by now he has been able to engage that community representative group so that we can be in a position to continue without serious hiccups. Secretary?
Thank you, Chairperson. I've received a letter from the Office of the Minister, Public Enterprises, and also Office of the Minister in Rural Development and Land Reform, Agricultural Rural Development and Reform, with their apologies for today. However, they have sent the list of delegations of senior managers who will be presenting. From DRRD, the department has sent senior officials and also from the Land Commission who are present, particularly from representing the Northern Cape Province. We've also got senior officials from the Department of Public Enterprises. With regards to the program for today, Chair, the people from Rechtersveld, they requested 30 minutes to do their presentation, which will be led by Mr. Willem today. I'm not sure how the interpretation is going to affect that, but that's the amount of time that they've requested. Then after that, the chair can allow the Department of Public Enterprise and Rural Development to do their response or presentation, and then the discussions can unfold from their chair.
Thank you, Secretary. Thank you, Secretary. Let us, without wasting time, because we'll have to finish in time. There is also a sitting of Parliament that's going to take place after this session. Therefore, some of us will have to travel to Parliament. Can I give an opportunity to the Rechtersveld community representative to provide us with the details, but they must not forget to explain to us who they represent. Yeah, I do want that to be clarified properly so that we know who are we talking to and what the interest and all that. Can you take us through, sir?
Goedemiddag, baie dankie voorzitter vir die geleentheid.
Thank you, Chairperson.
My naam is Willem Jasper Kloete.
My name is Willem Jasper Kloete.
En ek is dan nou namens die gemeenskap met die interim committee, maar ek net op die agtergrond wil gee ten woorde.
On behalf of the community and the interim committee.
As die voorzitter my toelaat, dan sal ek natuurlijk ook my collega's die interim committee ook wel na vore kom. En dan sal voorzitter.
Okay, sorry, there's a member that wants to speak. Who is that member?
Yeah, it's Maotwe.
Okay, Honorable Maotwe.
We need translation here, please.
I think there is a translation, but I will suggest that the person who is interpreting, I think, is Archie Huner. Mr. Archie,
Yes,
who seems to be an interpreter. Can you please allow the person who's presenting Afghan to speak, and then he must allow you at the same time to speak. You cannot speak at the same time when you are speaking.
I see,
Honorable
Chairperson.
Maotwe, we were told that that's why we have this arrangement. We're told that Zoom doesn't have an arrangement of Afrikaans to English kind of a translation. That's why we are trying to accommodate them by allowing the person to speak and then the other one interpret. We'll be having that while speaking. Can we proceed?
Baie dankie voorzitter. Ek waardeer dit van dat u daai omasaai gemaak het en ons kon toeslaan om u in Afrikaans toe te spreek. Want ons oorspronkelijke taal is Nama, daarom dat ons het waardeer van dat u wel die toegeving vir ons maak. Met die toestemming wil ek dan nou net vraag dat my collega's het dan eerst voorstel En daarna gaan ek dan in kort vir u voorlegging gee van die bestaan van die interim committee.
Thank you, Chairperson, for allowing us to speak Afrikaans. The actual language we speak in is Nama. Thank you for being able to give a representation. I am just going to allow the members here of the interim committee to introduce themselves. Thank you.
Goedemorgen, Chair. Mijn naam is Gert Kloete, Sander.
Good morning, Chairperson. My name is Gert Klute.
Goedemorgen, voorzitter. Mijn naam is Anne Friedberg. Ik is van Sandrif.
I'm Anne Friedberg from Sandburg.
Morning, Chairperson. My name is Ralph Klute from a local village called Lekkersing in the Richtersveld.
My name is Ralph Klute. I'm from a local village in the Richtersveld.
Goedemorgen, Chair. Dat is Iman Sarah van Koboes. Dat is een interim committee. Dat is gecontacteerd bij alle score. Er zal later die meeting verschonen in verband met sterfgevallen van een van mijn werkers. Zo zullen na een paar minuten die vergadering verschonen. Dank u.
I'm part of the interim committee, Chairperson. I will ask to be excused a little bit later because I have to attend a funeral. Thank you.
Baie dankie voorsitter vir die geleentheid dat ons onsself kan voorstel en wil ek dan net in kort dan aan u net agtergrond gee vir die bestaan van die interim committee omdat dit nie 'n verkose struktuur is nie maar dat die interim committee het ontstaan by 2007 was hulle betrokke gewees in die hof waar die ooreenkoms, die deed of settlement gesluit was met die government, waarin die gemeenskap nie geken was nie en waarin daar bepaalde kwessies was van waarin die staat dan ook nie deel was in daardie ooreenkoms. En was ons dan as verteenwoordigers van die gemeenskap moes ons toe na die hof toe gaan om dit teen te staan. Waarin ons van die hof dan nou erken was as verweerders. En het die deed of settlement tot standkoming so gekry deur middel van dat ons ingetree het namens die gemeenskap. Nou, die afgelope jare was ons nou natuurlik nie betrokke nie. Maar na 2015, na die verval van die CBA en daar geen verkiesing plaasgevind het nie, geen verteenwoordiging van die gemeenskap na vore gekom het nie en dat selfs die departemente dan nou ook afwesig was op daai stadium het ons dan as die stigterslede as die mense wie dan nou ingetree het vir die gemeenskap toe besluit dat ons sal moet na vore kom om dan die probleme van die gemeenskap te begin aanspreek en het ons met gemeenskappe vergaderings belê waarin die gemeenskap daarna ons gemandateer het om te sê dat hulle geen inligting kry nie en ook nie weet van presies van wat aangaan in Alexkor as die eienaar en as die permithouder en dat hulle bedreig voel en baie bekommerd is en het hulle vir ons toe die mandaat gegee om dan nou die saak van Transrex wat dan nou ook saam met Alexkor saak destyds geregistreer was dit nommer 1 na te kyk dat hy saak weer op die rol kom en intussen dan na aanleiding van die huidige operasies van nadat die administrateur ingestel was vir Alexkor om reg te trek op daai stadium ons gevra van om dan ook in te tree sodat die gemeenskap inligting kan kry van wat die huidige wending is aangesien dat daar geen verteenwoordiging vanaf die gemeenskap is nie. Daar is ook die RMC se tye dan ook gesamentlik verval en vir daardie doeleindes het die gemeenskap toe besluit van dat in die afwesigheid van enige struktuur wat dan nou regsbevoegdhede het dat die interim dan nou moet intree vir die gemeenskapsaktiwiteite. En daarom kan ons dit natuurlik bewys deur middel van dokumentasie wat ons al na meneer Majid wie die administrateur tans is selfs gestuur het. Kom ek stop eers daar net om geleentheid te gee vir verdere vertaling.
Good day, Chairperson. Chairperson, I am going to have to summarize what has been said. This committee, the interim committee, exists now because there has been no representation from the community to represent them. They were asked to step in. They haven't been elected. They are here to represent the community. In 2007, they went to court about this matter, about the settlement obligation. There was also a problem from the community because there was no communication and they received no messages about whatever was happening. The interim committee went to the community and the community gave them a mandate to represent them. And this is what they're doing. They are trying to sort out what is happening here and also to make sure that the community gets the necessary information. TransHex is also involved here. And what they really want is to get information, pertinent information about what is happening so that they can take this back to the community. I thank you.
Excuse me. I just need to point out that mistranslation, not to represent, but to communicate on behalf of the community.
I'm sorry about that. Not represent, but to do the communication on behalf of the community with the representatives. Thank you.
Baie dankie vir die regstelling. Voorzitter, dan wil ek dan verder voortgaan. En dan wil ek dan ook sê van dat ons natuurlijk in diezelfde capaciteit van waarin ons dan nou vergaderings met gemeenskappe belê om inligting oor te dra. En natuurlijk ook dan nou ook met enige andere partye in gesprekke tree vir inligting, sowel as enige vordering wat betref die sake van die gemeenskap moes voortgaan. Totdat ons op 'n punt gekom het met 2019, waarin dit gebleik het van dat ons ten minste by 'n verkiesing sou uitkom. En was daar 'n algemene jaarvergadering waarin die totale gemeenskap dan nog besluit het vir 'n verkiesing, sodat hulle dan nou 'n legitieme struktuur in plek kan stel om dan nou al hulle behoeftes kan aanspreek. Ongelukkig was dit nou natuurlik 'n kwessie van ons weet nou nog nie wat die oorsake was nie, maar was die ledenlyste meegepeter, waarvan daar dan nou ou lede uitgehaal was en waar was lede wat nie eens deel van die regterswerf is gevoeg tot die ledenlys. En dit was dan nou toe in die proses van verkiesing skielik raak gesien en was die verkiesing wat in proses was gestop. Kan ek stop nou weer daar?
The interim committee received the information and they dealt with other parties to receive information so that they could communicate this to the community. In 2019, they got to a stage where they thought they could finally have a legal or a legitimate election so that they could elect the committee or the council to represent the people. But then it seems as if there were some problems with the member list and certain old members' names were not on the list. And this was picked up while they were busy with the election procedure. And that is why they decided to stop that and not to continue with that. And that was in 2019. And up until this time, the interim committee is still serving the community in the capacity that the community has allowed them to.
Dankie, voorzitter. Dan wil ek aan verder voortgaan en dan sê van dat nadat gestop was, het die departement landelijke ontwikkeling en grondsake, die waarnemende DG, dan nou toe 'n saak gebring na die Kimberley Hof, waarin hulle dan nou 'n administrateur moet aanstel, omdat daar nou geen verteenwoordiging die gemeenskap was nie. As die interim komitee het dit ondersteun, omdat ons gevoel het van dat daar eenheid in die gemeenskap gekry word en so ook dat alle verliese, alle inligting wat ontbreek het van die gemeenskap moontlik op so 'n manier deur die administrateur aan die gemeenskap bekend sal gemaak word. Dit was dan nou die 28ste Februarie 2020 waarin dit dan by die Kimberley Hof aangehoor was. Kom ek stop weer daar, voorzitter.
Chairperson, there was a break in feed earlier, but what I could pick up is that the Department of Land Reform took the matter to the courts, to Kimberley on the 18th of February 2020, so that an administrator could be appointed to see to the matters of the community and to sort out whatever problems they've been having. Thank you.
Baik, dankie. Ons het dan nou na aanleiding van die ondersteuning wat ons nou verleen het, was ons suksesvol in die hof, omdat ons natuurlijk saamgestem het vir die aanstelling van 'n administrateur. Ons redes wat ons aangevoer het natuurlijk was van dat dit dan nou binne die CBA-wet en grondwet so administrateur aangewys moet word. En dit is waar ons eintlik gesien het van dit is sukses. Maar dit is belangrijk omdat het binnen die richtlijnen van die CBA dan nog gestel is. Maar onze teleurstelling, wat ik moet nou vandaag uitspreken, is van dat nadat hij aanstelling gedaan was, 4 maanden daarna was die administrateur om zelf voorgesteld en daarna nou net die gemeenschap gehoord van wat die behoeftes en problemen is. En na mijn persoonlijke mening en oortuiging was daar nie uitvoering gegeven aan die instructies van die hoffen. Kom ek stop eers laat?
We totally agreed with the department going to the court so that an administrator could be appointed, because we agreed, because it falls under the CPA rules and as well as the constitution. And we were glad that this administrator would then come and find out what the problems in the community are and what the challenges are so that this can be sorted out. We were very disappointed when 4 months later the administrator came to introduce himself. But as yet, we haven't seen any progress. So we are just feeling a little bit disappointed in this matter.
Dankie, voorzitter. Ons het dan nou na aanleiding van die aanstellingsbrief van die administrateur wat dan nou aangestel was het natuurlijk die eerste functie was geweest dat hij moest die ledenlijst weer in orde stellen. Deurdat vanaf 2015 en vroeger zelfs was die jongere garde wat 18 en ouder geraak het nooit opgeneem op die ledenlijsten. Dit is die eerste proces wat moest mee begin geweest het. Tweedens, dat daar dan nou bij november, want hij was februari, bij november was die mondelinge verkiezing van een CPA. Waarin die werkzaamheden natuurlijk met die gemeenschap of rolspelers in die gemeenschap opgenomen moest worden om die correcte inlichting en goed te krijgen, wat natuurlijk ook niet plaatsgevonden heeft. Ik denk nou een paar dagen geleden was het nou weer 28 februari 2021, wat nou mooi een jaar is. En tot op hierdie oomblik het die gemeenschap geen inlichting wat betreft van wat eindelijk gebeurt met Alex Score, wat die CBA's verantwoordelijkheid was. Ons weet niet wat betreft die ontwikkelingsgoed wat aan die gang is. Ons weet niet wat daar aan die gang is, nie, want die gemeenschap heeft geen inlichting. En daarom dat het vir ons 'n baie goeie geleentheid is en waarom ons dit baie waardeer van wat die parlement nou vandag gedoen het. Of dan die portefeuille komitee nou vandag gedoen het om dan nou eerstehands aan te luister. Die werklike armoede wat gekweek word van 2007 tot op datum sonder enige consultatie van ons gemeenschap. Dankie.
Chairperson, with the appointment of the administrator, when he received his letter of appointment, one of his first functions was supposed to be to sort out the members list, the ones of the old members, as well as the members of the community who attained the age of 18 years and older, so that we could have an election in November 2020. But this had not been sorted out. And here we are a year later in February 2021, or in March now, but February has passed already. And this matter has still not been sorted out. We're sitting here with problems that we don't know what developments are being made. We don't know what, as a community, what is happening at Alex Score. And what is happening is that poverty is continuing to take place, especially amongst our young people, because these matters haven't been sorted out. And we are very grateful that the Portfolio Committee is here to listen to us and what our challenges are.
Dank u, voorzitter. Ik denk van dat is een van die belangrijkste kwesties om dan nou te verzekeren van om een legitiem lichaam te krijgen. Nou natuurlijk bij die verkiezing van een CBA betekent van dat andere structuren zoals die RMC, wat die maatschappij van die CBA is, of dat nou 100% die gemeenschap vertegenwoordigt in die mijnbouw, dat nou uitgesloten is. En dat die gemeenschap op geen manier een enige besluiten erkend was en nog steeds is. En dat die operatie voortgaan met altijd een nieuwe contracteur, een nieuwe maatschappij, wat voor ons gezegd wordt, daar wordt herstructurering gaan doen. Nou, dat is baie kommerwekkend, want voor die eerste vanaf 2007 vanaf het ons baie opgewonde gevoel in 'n mate die 28 Mei 2020. Toe ons sien dat die parlement tot 'n besluit gekom het en was daar voorstelle, 6 voorstelle op die tafel. Alhoewel dit vir ons baie afgeskrik het omdat vir ons toelyk van daar word nou weer ander maatskappye ingebring. Ongeag die skikkingsakte, die deed of settlement se voorskrifte. Dit het ons baie bekommer. Maar het ons een van die 5de punt het dan nou ten minste die gemeenskap ingesluit. En het ons 'n versoek gerig. Buite na die administrateur wie ons nog nie ken nie. Ons het dit gestuur na die DPE. Ons het gestuur na die departement landbouw ontwikkeling en grondsake om uitsluitsels te kry waarin ons bepaalde voorstelle gemaak het. Kom ek stop eers daar.
Chairperson, yes. We are still waiting to find out what is really happening, because every time we hear that there's a new body in place or a new company that has come in, and we have yet to get our community to be represented here. We're very disappointed that this election legitimate election hasn't taken place so that we can have a legitimate body to represent us. But what is happening here? 6 proposals were laid on the table. And we were optimistic about thinking that we are moving in the right direction so that we can get our things sorted out. But we were very disappointed when nothing really came of this. And these proposals were made in May last year already. So we are still waiting because the community is suffering. The community is obviously not having any development over here because of the challenges that we have.
Dank u, voorzitter. Ik denk van dat ons nadat ons dan nou die voorstellen gemaakt het, was daar ook ingesluit. Omdat die gemeenschap vanaf 2007 nog niks als die eienaar en als die permithouder uit die mijnbedrijf uitgekry het. Het is ook een voorstel gemaakt van dat bij 20 augustus maand, nadat ons die financiële staten in goed gezien het ons gevraagd van dat daar is 1% wat betaald wordt, die is CSA, wat betaald wordt als dan die himme. En het ons gevraagd van om dan nou ten minste, zoals wat ook die contracteurs aanvaar was, 10% aan die gemeenschap te betalen maandelijks vanaf augustus 2020. Zodat er daar ten minste projecten in die dorpjes beginnen plaatsvinden voor werksgeleenthede. Omdat allemaal al reeds afgelost is en dat het net armoede bevordert. En het ons gevraagd van dat die 10% dan nou, aangezien ons nie 'n legitieme structuur het nie, dan nou in die verantwoordelijkheid van die administrateur en daarna was kon nog net, sorry, ek net seker maak die naam van die president. Rieslingehuis. Dan nog geplaatst wordt onder die toezicht van die huidige administrateur en Rieslingehuis. om dit dan nou te hanteer, om dan nou maandeliks aan die gemeenskap geld te voorsien waarin daar nou projekte en goed verdersgelede geskep moet word. Ons het geen reaksie vanaf 20 Augustus maand op die versoek wat gerig was, met die oog daarop van dat ons nou afwachtend was van die 6 voorstelle van die parlement, dat daar na die gemeenskap toe sou teruggekom word en gesê word van dit is die posisie van waarin ons dit nou plaas, so indien dit is van dat ons na die tafel toe wilkom, want dit is wat ons versoek het, om dan nou intussen met die onderhandeling voort te gaan, gebaseer op die deed of settlement. Ons het nou nog geen antwoord nie, en ons wil baie graag wil ons weet, wat is die plan na die besluit van die parlement on 28 Mei 2020.
We'd like to know what has happened since the decision of Parliament in May 2020, the decision that was taken, because what we are having here, the owners, shareholders haven't been getting anything from the mines. What we have asked is that a part of the profits be paid out monthly. I think it's 10%, paid out monthly to the community, so that the community could at least start with projects and do something to alleviate the poverty in the community. We know that a number of things have taken place. We wanted to ask whether Redlinghuis and the administrator could then, seeing that we don't have a legitimate committee or body to represent the people here, whether they could not see to that matter of the money is being paid monthly to the community, so that the community could continue with the work and poverty alleviation in the area. Thank you.
Dankie voorsitter. Ek dink van dit is een van die kwessies van wat ons aan die gemeenskap vanaf versoek was, en daarom is ons baie bekommerd van dat ons geen antwoorde op die stadium van die gemeenskap het van wat is die pad vorentoe, omdat ons geen verteenwoordiging het, soos ek vroeër dit gestel het nie, en is dit vir ons van kardinale belang van sou dit wees van dat die DPE vir ons vandag 'n antwoord sou kon gee, wat die gemeenskap ten minstens vir 'n begin werksgeleenthede kan verseker, en daarna kan verseker van dat hy die gevoel kry van dat hy 'n eienaar, nie net 'n naam is nie, maar dat hy 'n eienaar van die grond is en 'n permithouer oor die regte van die minerale hulpbronne, wat die gemeenskap vanaf weggeneem is, sonder dat hy werklik waar enige voordeel tot op die stadium bereik het nie, sal ons dit werklik waar dit beskou as 'n tree vorentoe, in plaas van om ons terug te plaas, soos dit oor die jare was, van dat ons net verwagtinge uitgekry het, en daar is geen sins antwoorde. En daarom sal dit vir ons verskriklik baie beteken.
It would mean quite a lot. It would mean quite a lot to this community if we can get some progress on this matter, because we are owners and we're also holders of the mineral rights of Alex Core. But as yet, the community hasn't really received any benefit from here. And it is of cardinal importance that if the DPE has gone and made a decision about this, that we could at least as a community see that there is some progress, and we could then start with projects and things, so that we as owners and as mineral rights holders can get some benefits from this. And at the moment, that is not happening.
Dankie voorsitter. As ek kan verder gaan voorsitter, dan is natuurlijk ander kwessies ook daar wat ons as gemeenskap nie van kennis geneem het. En dat ons deur middel van media berigte en goed ook moes hoor as gemeenskap, en waarop ons al verskeie versoeke gerig het na die administrateur, na DPE en departement landbouontwikkeling en grondsake, oor die Boegebaai projek. Want nergens, maar nergens, was die gemeenskap erkend in zo'n project. En dit is deel van die geëiste grond van die Richtersveld gemeenskap waarop zo'n project geïnitieerd is. En daar was ondernemings van ons gegee van dat daar onderzoek zou ingesteld worden door die administrateur en zou het hulle gekom het en vir ons aanduiding gegee het van hoe ver dit gevorder is en wat was die prosesse en die moontlikhede dat ons dan nou toegespreek gaan word van die departement van wat hulle doel is ten opsigte van die Boegebaai, want die gemeenskap het geen benul van wat behels daardie beplanning. So ons sal dit net so waardeer indien dit is van dat ons 'n aanduiding kry vanaf u vandag of wanneer u ook al dan nou die besluit neem. Want ons was op 'n stadium was ons by navraag gesê van district na district. Namakwa district municipaliteit. Ons het navraag gedoen en daardie mense kon amper op die rug val want dis die eerste wat hulle sou iets hoor. So daarom dat ons sekerheid wil kry van onder wie dit val en hoekom dat die gemeenskap uitgesluit was uit so 'n besluit. Dankie.
Thank you. About Boegebaai project, we were very surprised to learn about this because nobody consulted with us. We had to see some of the information in the media, and Boegebaai is also one of the areas that we have laid a claim to. And despite the departments being involved in this year, we haven't received information other than that we had to go to the district, that is the Namakwa district officers, to go and find out. And they were very surprised when we came to ask them about this because they didn't know about it either. We would very much like to know what the progress is around this Boegebaai project because, as I've mentioned earlier, the community was not consulted about this, and this is also part of the land that we have claimed. Thank you.
Baie dankie voorsitter. Ek vertrou van dat ons antwoorde sal kry so en daarna ook soos ek dit vroeër gestel het gebaseer op die besluit van die parlement die 28ste Mei moontlik in 'n rigting sal gaan deur middel van onderhandelinge binne die deed of settlement om dan nou uitsluitsels te kry oor al die kwessies wat ek nou al voorheen genoem het. Maar voorsitter, dan is daar nog een kwessie wat ek op die tafel nog wil bring en dit is ook op dieselfde grond waarin daar 'n maatskappy aansoek gedoen het was minerals vir sand. En daardie prospekteur reg was toegestaan aan Rafik Bakes. Ek is nie seker of hy nog steeds direkteur was op daai stadium nie en of in watter hoedanigheid so 'n prospekteur reg toegeken was ook sonder enige konsultasie of kennisname van die gemeenskap. Nou, dit is vir ons kommerwekkend want dit is een van die kwessies soos ek dit vroeër gestel het voorsitter waar byvoorbeeld is daai aanspreeklikheid in die hande van die administrateur. Volgens die CBI grondwet is dit 'n spesiale vergadering met gemeenskappe wanneer soortgelyke projekte tot stand gebring word, want dit word gesien as 'n spesiale projek. Dit is wat die grondwet van die CBI sê. Volgens die CBI wet natuurlik is dit voor die hand liggend dat hy wet baie duidelik is en sê dat alleenlik met die konsensus van gemeenskap mag enige besluit geneem word wat die gemeenskap raak. En ongelukkig in die geval was ons geskok om na jare te hoor van daar se prospekteur waarop ons nou ook verneem het dat dit nou verkoop word teen 80 miljoen rand sonder dat die gemeenskap natuurlik nie 'n sent gaan sien nie, want hulle is uitgesluit in die besluit. Ek sal dit baie waardeer voorsitter vir die gemeenskap dat ons daardie inligting ook moet kry sodat ons kan weet van wat is die proses vorentoe. Dankie voorsitter.
Chairperson, one of the problems that the community has here and constantly has is that there seems to be no progress and we don't receive any information. We are still waiting for answers, especially since the decision taken by Parliament on the 28th of May. We haven't seen anything happening there. And we know that if there's anything to do with prospecting rights or anything, the community, according to the CPA Act and the Constitution, that the community must be consulted in all of these matters. Now we understand that there is a company that has applied, I think the company's name is Maritz, to get prospect or get some sand, but we haven't heard as a community, they didn't come to us to come and speak to us about it. We also hear that prospecting rights were sold for something like 80 million rand, and the community is not going to get a cent of that money. What has happened to this matter where the community is supposed to be consulted in all these things that are happening? We know that the administrator was most probably dealing or should have been dealing with these matters, but also the administrator or someone who represents him is supposed to come to the community and inform the community. Now we're sitting with a number of situations where the community hasn't been consulted at all, and we would like to know, we would like to get some answers. We want to know what is happening in these matters. Thank you.
Dankie voorsitter. Ek wil net 'n regstelling maak, voorsitter, van die maatskappy se naam is Vast Minerals.
Sorry, the company's name was Vast Minerals.
Ja, van Rafiq Bakas. Goed, voorsitter, dan wil ek net in kort vir u so 'n verklaring van ons gemeenskap voorhou. Dit sal baie kort en saaklik wees. As u dit vir my kan toestaan. Die Richtersveld-verklaring oor ontwikkeling. Ons erken dat die verbintenis van ons mense en ons grond kosbaar is. Ons kan nie van ons grond losgemaak word nie. Daarom verstaan ons nodige ontwikkeling as 'n proses met die volgende beginsels. Volhoubare benutting van ons natuurlike hulpbronne, grond, water en minerale en die gebruik van ons grond. Ontwikkelingsbeplanning en ontwikkelingsaksies fokus op mense en deelname deur ons mense. Dit lei ons na volhoubare ontwikkeling van ons gemeenskap as deel van ons omgewing. Dit bewaar samehorigheid en verbeter wederkerigheid binne die gemeenskap. Gemeenskapsontwikkeling is langtermyn en bewaar ons kultuur op 'n manier wat almal bevoordeel en toekomstige geslagte erken. Daarom dat ons altyd praat oor die vrywillige vooraf voortdurende volledige ingeligte toestemming moet van ons gemeenskap verkry word oor enige besluit. Deur ons gemeenskap en die direk geaffekteerde reghebbendes is ons beginsel en is deel van ons reg. Dit verseker dat ons eiendom en regte nie verkoop, verhuur of beswaar mag word nie. Ons eie ontwikkeling word eers gestel en ons besluit as dit so is. Mede-eienaarskap en mede-beheer, as ook werksgeleenthede en opleiding, is belangrik in enige vennootskap. Maar dit beteken nie dat ons aandeelhouer die grootste risiko moet dra deur ons waardevolle bronne te investeer en dan nooit winste of dividende sien. Daarom kyk ons deeglik na 'n buitevennoot se bydraes en die geprojekteerde produksie en opbrengste. Tussen 5% tot 10% van bruto inkomste gereeld onderhandelbaar kan eers na die gemeenskap kom. Ek wil dit net so in kort vir u voorhou die beginsels waarop ons ontwikkeling in die Richtersveld gemeenskap dit sien. Baie dankie voorsitter.
Chairperson,
Dankie voorsitter.
there is a declaration by the Richtersveld group about development. They say that they recognize that there is an agreement or that there is some type of relationship between the people and our land. And we cannot be loosened or removed from our land. That is why we understand that there is a necessary development process that must take place with the following principles. And this is that the natural resources be used fully, and here I'm speaking about the land, the water, the minerals, and also the use of the land, that it be used to its maximum potential. We also looking at development planning and also development actions, and these actions must be focused on the people, and that the people should then play a part in this. And this would then lead to development that would be lasting, and also for the community, as that part of the community and part of the community is also part of the area that is over here. What we are looking at is that there should be a better working relationship with the community. We're also looking that community development must be a long-term plan, and in that way we can then also look after our culture in a manner that would also recognize the rights of future generations so that they can also profit from this. We also see that this development must be done in a responsible manner, and there should be good leadership, and that the right road development path be then implemented and looked at. We understand a number of things, and this is that when it comes to giving consent, it must be informed consent, which you have to get from the community beforehand and the people who are the rights holders. And this is part of the principles, and it's also part of our right, that no property or rights may be sold, hired out, or have a lien placed on it without the community first being consulted in any of these decisions. There are a number of other matters here, and one of the most important ones here is that co-ownership and co-management, and also, of course, the fact that jobs should be created, there should be training, and this is very important in a partnership. But this doesn't mean that we who are shareholders must then bear the biggest risk, and we are supposed to invest our very important resources, but that we never see any profits or dividends. How does that work? We also have to look at that if we have partners, what is this that the partner is bringing to the table? What will the production and also what would the profits be? We're looking at that between 5 and 10% of the brutto income be then negotiated regularly, and they should first come to the community with it. This, in short, is the declaration that I just want to mention that the community wants to be heard here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we have received the information. In fact, you have exceeded the time you were allocated, Mr. Hank. I will suggest that if there is anything to add, you quickly summarized it, but I thought you are done now. Is it not that? Do you still have anything else to include?
Voorzitter, as u dit my kan magtig, dan wil ek hierdie dame wat namens die vrouens ook 'n kort samenvatting aan u wil voorlê. En dan is my collega hier wat nou net dit wat ek nou lastig genoem het, ook iets wil byvoeg wat betref die waardes van wat die gemeenskap verloor het. So ek wil by u vra van ons net hy vergunning te doen. Asseblief.
Chairperson, I ask for your indulgence. There are two members that would like to speak to you. One is the lady behind you who want to speak about how women can be involved, how women should be involved. And there's also the gentleman sitting directly behind me who wants to speak about the values that were mentioned in the last part of my presentation. I just want to know whether you would give us this indulgence so that we can speak about these matters too, please.
No, I don't think so. You ask yourself 30 minutes. 30 minutes came from yourselves. You have almost covered an hour. It's now 10 to 11, which is 20 minutes beyond the time you have requested. Therefore, I will suggest that when you get a second, perhaps, opportunity, they also come and add those particular issues. Otherwise, we've got a time constraint because the department has to respond comprehensively to what you have tabled here. We did receive the gist of the issues, the content of what you wanted. All other issues, I don't think they are much more important than the content of your grievance. What propelled you to be here? I think I've also captured it here in my notes. And the department, two departments that are here, have captured the essence of the issues we wanted to raise. Therefore, I will appeal to you to wait until both the departments responded to what is presented here, so that the members can also, because we still have the members who are actually the people of this meeting, to say something in relation to the issues before we have to adjourn. Thank you. Let's go to the department. Let's hear the Department of Rural Development to respond. I understand that they've got a long presentation also to make. Can in the department, or you like to say something beforehand? Deputy Minister?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, and greetings to the honorable members, and greetings to the community leadership that is here. Chair, I'm inclined to support your approach that the departments be allowed to just state their understanding of the situation. I still think, though, that thereafter there is still a need to try and understand fully from the community as to their areas of concern and therefore areas that require intervention. But having listened so far, I think your approach is appropriate, that we start with land affairs that can hopefully speak to the issue of the concern of the community that feels marginalized. And I think if we proceed in that way, then we can, in a systematic way, establish the areas that are a cause of concern and what is the appropriate intervention there in all of them. So without much at the moment, Chair, I would suggest that we go along with the proposition you are making. Thank you very much, Chair. I'm hoping that the interpretation services is also applicable in this case, because I think from the community side, there must be some interpretation as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Can we go to the Department of Rural Development?
Good morning, honorable members, honorable deputy ministers, community members, and DGs present in this meeting. Chairperson, my name is Khozo Moeketi. I'm led today by the Acting Director General of the department, and I will be leading the presentation. I am responsible for the Office of the National Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development in the Northern Cape. Chair, I'm going to be very brief in terms of the presentation. I will try to project it from my side. And I hope honorable members are able to see it. Am I audible, Honorable Chairperson?
You are audible.
Thank you very much,
Chairperson. Clear, you are loud and clear.
Okay. By background and context, Chairperson, to the benefit of the members, the Rittersfeld claim was lodged in 1998 in terms of the Land Rights Act 22 of 1994. After a protracted, court proceeding, the Constitutional Court then, awarded the land and mineral rights to the community of Rittersfeld. Chair, what I'm saying is that the whole issue of land claim was settled and finalized. Then there was a deed of settlement, Chairperson, which was signed on the 22nd of April 2007 between the community represented by the CPA, the government, which was then represented by the Department of Public Enterprises and the former Department of Land Affairs, as well as Alex. And this was done on the 9th of October 2007. So the deed of settlement was made in order of court. Just to give you an indication that this, the CPA there represent over 3,300 beneficiaries from the 4 towns, which are Sandrift, Ubus, Lekkersing, and Extienfontein in the Namakwa district of the Northern Cape. Also, Chairperson, maybe just as a way of background, as far as the department is concerned, the department is dealing with matters in terms of the court order of the Northern Cape High Court dated 28 February 2020, where the court resolved that the administration, because of serious challenges in the CPA executive, then the CPA must be put under judicial administration. Hence, Mr. Don Majid was duly appointed and introduced to the community as an administrator following the DG's application to the court. So, Chair, what we want to say is that it's just unfortunate, Chairperson, but I thought it's very important that we say to the committee that the role of this interim committee within the community is really becoming more confusing to the department. And if this is allowed, it will also lead to the split again within the community of. I must just make that. Like I said, Chairperson, I'm going to be very, very brief. I won't read the presentation, but speak to it. These are the issues that we are going to talk to, Honorable Chairperson. What we are going to present here, Chairperson, is the plan, developed by the administrator in terms of the court order of the 28th of February 28. Whatever that the administrator is doing, Chairperson, is execution of the court order. And we'll speak to those issues there. We'll also briefly deal with the challenges. Chair, I've spoken to this. I will not repeat to this, Chairperson. I'll just go to the issues. In terms of the plan, Chairperson, the administrator, as I said, was duly introduced and developed a plan. And then, Chairperson, in terms of the court order, anything that the administrator does, must be done in consultation with the community. But, Chairperson, due to the fact that there has been, COVID, restrictions, certain, meetings could not, take place because here we're talking of a community that is over 3,000 300 beneficiaries, because everything, like as the other member of the community was saying, the community needs to be consulted, And the reason why the CPA was put under judicial administration, Chairperson, the former executive committee was elected in 2013, and then its term expired in 2016. 2016 onwards, there have been this back and forth, serious challenges and dynamics within the community. And our deputy minister, Skwacha, was there in Namakwa districts, I think, for 4 times to try and resolve and intervene in the challenges facing the community. Chairperson, the issue of administration, when the DG decided to put the CP under administration, it was a last resort. The department, as a responsible, government institution for CPAs, has done everything it could, to assess the CPA in terms of complying with its own constitution, as well as, the CPA Act. So, yes, Chairperson, that's the reason for the administration. The first issue, Chairperson, that the administrator, is supposed to do is to review the deed of settlement. And as a department, Chairperson, working hand in hand with our colleagues from public enterprises, we will be appointing we will be appointing an attorney who will assist the administrator to deal with the issue of reviewing the deed of settlement. That will be the part, from us as Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. The Department of Public Enterprises also has certain responsibilities in terms of deed of settlement, and I think they will speak to those issues. So this is the first thing, Chairperson. And here we indicate that we are intending to finalize this appointment process by the 12th of this month. And then the second thing, Chairperson, this one is also done by the administration, is to ensure that the administration of the CPA is conducted in an orderly, efficient, and accountable manner. The former executive committee of the CPA, the reason why it was put under administration is because the administration of the CPA was not done in accordance with this Chairperson. There was disorder, inefficiency, and unaccountability. And then that will be done daily by the appointed administrator. The third issue, Chairperson, also in line of the court order, is to ensure the sound management of all CPA assets. The time frame here, Chairperson, is the 15th of December. Remember, Chairperson, in all what the administrator will be doing, from time to time, he needs to consult with the, with the community. So given the fact that there are 4 communities, he must go in all of these 4 communities, to engage with the members or the beneficiaries. The fourth issue, Chairperson, this one is very, very critical. The community can exist, but if there is no, a reviewed, verified, and updated membership list of beneficiaries, like the Chairperson alluded to this, the one who was representing the community. So we are working with the community to ensure that their beneficiary list is updated, and this list, it needs to be adopted by the community themselves. It can be us as a department. We'll take this list and then go to the community, to work with them. And this list, Chairperson, in terms of our work plan, there's going to be the general meeting on the 24th and the 25th of this month, where this list will be presented, and then after the community will be given the opportunity to say whether they agree or not. But the target for this is the 31st of May 2021. This is despite the fact that the administrator has been appointed for a period of 3 years. So what we want to do, Chairperson, is to ensure that all these other things, they must be done expeditiously. Also, Chairperson, this is the fifth issue. There will be a consideration to see whether there is a need to amend the constitution of the CPA, the investment as well as community structures. Towards the end, I'll show you a structure, a slide where it shows the structure, on how this whole community is structured. A very complicated structure. So us as a department working with the attorney that will be appointing as well as the administrator, will be assisting the community, you know, to see whether their own constitution, which is a guiding document in their affairs, whether this can be amended or not. And then the sixth issue, Chairperson, sound financial management. It has been a serious challenge in that CPA. Here, Chairperson, the main activities will be around, you know, just to check, you know, the bank accounts, you know, the expenses and all of those. The administrator, again, Chairperson, will be working hand in glove with us, will be guided, of course, by us as a department, and then working with the community. Because we are not, remember, in terms of the CPA Act, as well as the constitution of the CPA, it is the CPA that is responsible for the affairs of the years. But given the fact that there were challenges, you know, the issue of administration is intended to make sure that all the previous challenges are addressed. So this will be an ongoing process, Chairperson. And then the seventh issue is the issue of dividends from entities to members. This, Chairperson, I think what the community leader made reference to this. This is dependent, Chairperson, on the finalization of the beneficiary list. Remember here, we cannot just as a department, and I think this will be done by DPE, if I'm not mistaken. We cannot just, if there's going to be any payment of some sort, be done to everyone. There must be a list to say, Richtersveld, this list contains the beneficiaries of Richtersveld. And this is how you know they must be paid in terms of dividends. The eighth issue, Chairperson, is around issues of general meetings, you know, special meetings, AGMs, and the like. So we have, this was, let me just say that there were meetings planned when the administrator assumed office last year. But because of, you know, other processes relating to COVID, it has been extremely difficult to ensure that some of these are complied with. But the administrator has compiled an annual plan, you know, for the types of meetings to take place. And all of these, Chairperson, of scheduled meetings will be published, you know, across, you know, the areas of the community. So we hope that come the 24th and the 25th of March, the community itself will be given the opportunity, you know, to consider the plan, you know, compiled by the administrator, and hopefully they will adopt it. Once it's adopted, then they will have to stick to it. And then the ninth one, Chairperson, issue, I'm almost there, Chair, is to conduct elections of the CPA committee. Remember, Chairperson, one of the responsibilities of the administrator is to regularize the CPA. In regularizing the CPA, we'll have to ensure that there is a committee that will run the affairs, you know, of the CPA on daily basis. So we are targeting for by the 30th of June, 2021, we'll be able, you know, to have elected, you know, the community, the CPA committee, the executive committee, by the community itself. It is the committee that must elect, you know, the executive committee. And then this is the committee is directly accountable to the same community. The 10th issue, Chairperson, as per the court order, is, you know, this, what to call, the reporting to the court. I know previously it was said that the department is not complying with the court. I want to assure honorable members of this committee that our department, through the DG, who is the one who made an application to court, we are not in any contempt of court, Chairperson. We are not in any contempt of court. Everything that we are presenting here is in line with the court order of the 28th of February, 2020. That is why from time to time, the administrator and us will be required to know to engage with the community. And then, Chairperson, this is the structure, Chair, but I will not waste your time on it. And then this is the plan of the elections. As I said, Chair, we are targeting to come the 30th of June this year. The election of the Richtersveld CPA Executive Committee and all these other entities will have taken place. And today we are just giving indication the duration in terms of notices, you know, the candidates, you know, submission of objections, etc., etc., etc. And then the challenges, Chairperson, before I conclude. Chair, as we have said, regulations, COVID-19 regulations, they have affected initial days for meetings. It's a reality, Chairperson. The administrator could not execute certain things because of this. The other issue, Chairperson, is the issue of the membership list. As I've said, everything else can be done. But if the membership list is not verified and adopted by the community, it's going to delay other processes. But we hope that come the 24th, 25th of March, the list will have been adopted by the community. And then also, Chairperson, bullet point number 2 here, under challenges, there is this challenge where the old or the previous CPA executive is not willing to cooperate with the administrator, despite the fact that there is a court order which says someone else in the name of administrator, where the DG appointed Mr. Don Majid will be running the affairs of the CPA for the period of 3 years until there is stability. It's just unfortunate that the previous executive committee is not willing to cooperate with the administrator. The second thing, Chairperson, and this one speaks to the community leaders who just spoke to you. I think this, they call themselves interim committee. They are engaging in parallel processes within the administration. And this is really creating confusion, Chairperson. The presentation that we have just heard, speaks directly to this. The issue of Alexo also, Chairperson, has the potential of derailing the administration plan. So we are saying that, but the Department of Public Administration, Public Enterprises will be able to speak to this. So, Chairperson, in brief, that is the presentation from the department. The administrator, as well as other colleagues who are dealing directly with this matter in the province, are here, to respond to whatever issues that members of the portfolio committee will want. In conclusion, Chairperson, relating to this interim committee, we received an email on the 2nd of October last year through Mr. Hank Smith, and then through the letter from our DDG responsible for CPAs, that is DDG Teresa Ndove, we have made it very clear as a department that we don't recognize the interim committee, because as far as we are concerned, there is an administrator in place, as per the court order, who is dealing with all of these issues of the community. Chairperson, that is what we want to share with the members of Parliament, the portfolio committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I think now let's get the department before I allow anyone to breathe on the issue. The Department of Public Enterprise.
Okay. Good morning, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good morning.
Okay. Good morning, Chair, honorable members, committee members, the community. I'm Moroma from the Department of Public Enterprises, and I will not be making a long presentation. I will just address some of the issues that were highlighted by Mr. Klotter. In terms of the DPE responsibilities with regards to the deed of settlement, the department has executed all its obligation except for one, I can say two obligation, but one obligation to the communities to transfer the properties and a payment of 45 million. And that payment was in lieu, or was an upfront payment for rental to secure the accommodation for Alexco employees. That rental was not meant to be distributed to individuals. It was supposed to ensure that the community is able to maintain the houses that they will be or they will receive. But in 2016, the community resolved that they have not seen the fruits of the settlement. Therefore, the Department of both ourselves and Rural Development were given consent to amend the deed of settlement so that the payment to the different beneficiaries can be allowed. However, that process fell through because of infighting and letters and litigations among members. Currently, that 45 million is in Alexco's attorney's trust account. The process of the transfer is currently on hold. This is pending the regularization of the CPA. Mr. Mugit also showed the different structure that the CPA has, and one of them is a property holding company. So the transfer of those houses and other properties, as well as the payment of 45 million, is supposed to go to the Richtersveld Property Holding Company, which is a company under the CPA, and that company is currently dormant. Therefore, the department can't do much there until the CPA is regularized. I also want to talk to the issue of the proposals that were presented in May 2020. We do acknowledge that we did propose 6 options. However, after some consultation internally and externally, we had one option. We were looking at one option, which was to consolidate the state-owned mining companies. However, after extensive consultation, we resolved to look at an alternative option. So currently there are 2 options that are currently under discussion and that have not yet been finalized. The department is currently drafting a CAB memo, which will reach cabinet soon. There was also the issue of payment, 10% income payment that Mr. Kluter mentioned. Unfortunately, the deed of settlement does not make provision for such payments. So if that is what the community requires, we need to amend the deed of settlement so that that payment can be allowed. And the other issues to which account. So there are other complex issues rather than just saying we'll pay the 10%. We don't have the proper structure in place. I think I have covered most of the issues are relating to the administration process, which rural development has spoken to. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Motengu. And also thank you to Mr. Muketi on the presentation, on the very comprehensive presentation that we have received here. But I want to go back to the honorable members now, just to pick up the issues that they would like to, but I'm seeing a hand, an unfamiliar hand of Lemacheng Pitsu. Can I just check who is that?
Thank you, Chair. My name is Lemacheng Pitsu, CEO of Alexco. Okay, can you hear me then?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I hear you, Mr. Pitsu. You want to come in?
Yeah, I just want to add what Member Tengu said on the points that were. Yeah, just on one of the points that the community member raised, they said there was a mining right that was sold for 80 million rands. I just want to state that I'm not aware of any mining rights that have been sold with the mining right that is combinedly joined by the community and Alexco. But that being the case, it's more of a DMRE issue than a DPE issue. But just where I am today, March 3rd, there is no information that I have indicating that Vast Mineral Sands bought the mining right that is belonging to the community via Alex. So I just wanted to clear that one. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Honorable members, I'm coming to you now one by one, starting with Kumede, followed by Honorable Kachalia, and after that, Honorable Maotwe. Can we start with that three hands?
Good morning, Chair. I hope it's still good morning. Can I be heard? Yes, I think I'm.
You are heard loud and clear, Honorable Kumede.
Yes, Chair. Chair, thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you again for the submissions, starting from the alleged. I'm underlining alleged. I'll explain that. Committee, the department, it's a rural, as well as the DPE. Chair, this is a complicated but a simple matter. What I realize in this matter is the community has fallen structures. They don't have legitimate structures. On the other side, departments have taken a decision that they can't interact with illegal committees. As a result, the lamentation from the committee of lack of consultation and what have you, then it's not happening. And the department is developing, rather departments, yes, it's developing programs on the basis that they set up legitimate structures that they will then formally begin to interact with. In fact, what I'm trying to say, in fact, we shouldn't have had this meeting if two parties, here I'm talking the departments as well as the community, were interacting. Because I'm interested as well to get a comment from the community reps. What do they say about the program? Because the program, apparently, it begins to address some of the concerns, if not all, that they have raised. It's only that no one has shown anything, because they are not even happy with the administrator. They are saying that the administrator is not consulting with them. He came to introduce himself. Thereafter, he disappeared. Whereas perhaps on the side of the administrator, he was dealing with the interim committee or illegitimate structures. What again, Chair, I'm trying to say is, it looks as if we're getting from the department, we are again dealing with the illegitimate structure. Are we okay to do that? Because the interim, as it is presented by the rural Department of Rural Development, is that this interim is not the right committee. They are making arrangements that the CPA be established. According to them, they only recognize the CPA, but not the interim. I appreciate as well the confusion that may have come among themselves. get the information that says the interim committee can't represent the committee. When the interpreter was doing that, he was quickly interjected to say that the committee, I can't remember, I don't get, there is a specific word that they used to say that the committee is not representing, but there was, communicating, is communicating on behalf of the community. But be that as it may, Chair, I'm very much interested that the reps that are there are truly representing all the 4 areas that we are talking about. The understanding is as well, I mean, you asked a question that who do they represent? And that question was not properly answered. I was interested to get a story. Where is Mr. Klute? Say, for instance, is coming from, is he within the area, and things like those. But again, Chair, what I can realize is a good initiative for the community, but the community was not ready for all this work that is before them. It looks as if when the court took a decision, they were not ready. Quite a lot of things are expected to have been done. I'm not sure whether do they have all the necessary skills to run or manage all the things within perhaps Alexco. So that is the concern, Chair, I'm having with the committee. But what I would like us to address first, are we talking to the legitimate committee? Secondly, is it truly represented? Yes, it's true. If you follow this thing, the 45 million, which was to be divided among the 3,000 people, you know, I've calculated that each was to get 15,000. But my worry is that was not okay. I think I buy the idea that let's go back and visit the DOS, so that if we give individually that sum of money, which I don't think there is in perhaps the purpose for that 45 million, it's for the individuals to benefit, is to run and maintain the area of Alexco, so that at least the committee has at least the revenue and the capital to maintain. Let me wait there, Chair, to give others an opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Gumed. And I think that question is fundamental, because at some point about the community vis-a-vis Alexco, at some point we were informed at the beginning, actually, that there is a problem within the community of Rechterveld, which is divided, and they can't really assist in forming a formidable community representative group that is acceptable to all. To what extent that problem has been sorted to this point? I think that's the question. Honorable Kachalia.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, to begin with, let me say that this is a most untenable situation. My heart goes out to the community. Whoever we talk about representation, there is a community there, and my heart goes out to them, because they have been sold down the Orange River. If we look, and Alexco is central to this, if we look at Alexco's mission says it is to operate a growing, profitable, and sustainable mining operation that contributes to the development and the needs of the community. Now, the identification of that community needs to be done by the parties concerned, not least Alexco and the two departments, DPE and Land Affairs and Agriculture, who are central to driving this, in identifying and working with the community. To put it, to say that there is confusion in the community is actually a result of mad mismanagement over a lengthy period of time. And when I say mismanagement, that covers a multitude of sins. I'm astounded by the buck passing that's going on here, while a poor community suffers when diamonds are being sold and below priced by people who haven't got the requisite skills, who haven't got the requisite valuation qualifications, sold below market price, and who do not have licenses for rough. This situation is not new. The situation was pre-Gupta and post-Gupta. It is now, and this has to be dealt with. And the buck passing, despite court orders, cannot be countenanced. If there is no contempt of court, has been stated, that may well be, but there is contempt of morality versus the obligations that we have to the community and the company and the various departments who put this situation into play have to the community. It is untenable, as I say. Now, the community, whoever they may be, but there is considerable representation here, says there's been no representation. Administrator has been appointed, but there's no progress. And I'd like to ask what progress there has been. Not new timelines. I want to know from exactly what progress is in place and what progress has been tabled. Because the community is in the dark. We are in the dark. Now, new bodies are in place, but the community has been sidelined, and there is no return to the community as we've heard. But as I say, others have made a killing in the meanwhile. In terms of I'd like to understand how community representation was determined to the PSJV board and how they were appointed, who was appointed and on what basis. These are the things that lead to the confusion that is being spoken of. And they sit with the people who appoint these responsible people to the boards. One might also look at Reagan Phillips's resignation and what has been done to address the various concerns which he raised, which cover all these areas. Also, in terms of representation in the company, how did Dion Bovers get appointed as acting manager? He is Mervyn Carsten's brother-in-law, and when Mervyn Carsten was suspended, he suddenly was appointed. How was this done? These are the issues that lead to considerable confusion that I constantly hear about. New committees have been appointed. I want to understand who has been appointed and on what basis they've been appointed. What prospecting rights have been sold, and what is and why has there been no involvement in the community? Surely it is incumbent on the parties involved to determine who they are speaking with, and to it's not the first time in a mining community that a community of 3,000 odd people have been constituted as beneficiaries, and how this is constituted is not rocket science. This can be dealt with fairly effectively, but it has not been done effectively. And in the interim, while it has not been done, there has been wholesale theft and mismanagement that has gone on. I'd be keen to get answers to those issues. We hear about a plan that the administrator is putting in place. That plan requires consultation. This is chicken and egg. The administrator says he doesn't have the requisite bodies to consult with. Well, get off your chair and ensure that that body is in place and that is properly constituted. That needs to be done, and it needs to be done immediately. It is the first course of action. Then you can talk about returns that need to be paid on a monthly basis, and to whom. Ring-fenced amounts of 45 million, which is not inconsiderable in a community that is so poor, how that is going to be dealt with, and this needs to be understood. We also need to understand exactly who this administrator is, how he was appointed, what is he being paid, what are the terms of reference of this administrator, and what is he doing to resolve these issues, not least community representation. And who the community is, to tell a concerned community that has come and made actually a very measured presentation to this committee. If I were them, I would be spitting, given what has been stolen, how it has been mismanaged, and how they've been sold down the river. I think these need to be answered. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kachalia. Honorable Mawatwa is still battling with connection problems, but she's gonna be coming after a few people from now. I will check her again after the next two speakers spoken. I will have to give to Honorable Buthelezi, followed by Honorable Phiri. But I want also honorable members to state that we are not meeting for the first time in this session with community members. We have, at some point when, even before COVID, we met at Parliament with a number of community representatives that were also having issues in relation to Alexco. Therefore, in our engagement on these community-related issues, let's try also to avoid contributing to divisions in those communities, but helping those communities to unite so that at the end of the day, we have one representative of the entire community endorsed by everybody. Because if we become excited with each and every group that meets us and not assisting Alex and the departments to actually unite that community behind one particular representative, which will be credible to everybody. I think in our engagement, let's not put it as if this is the first group that comes representing communities, because we will fail to understand. That's why, as this community, we intended to go to that particular community so that we can have a sense directly of the reality of the situation there. Therefore, let's have Honorable Buthelezi, followed by Phiri. Buthelezi.
Shut up.
Lebu, mute. Thank you. Sorry, Honorable Phiri. Seemingly, Honorable Buthelezi is not here. Honorable Phiri.
Thanks, Chair. Morning to yourselves, colleagues, and representative from the Richfields, the Alesco management, and two departments that are with us. Greetings to everybody in the platform. Chairperson, I think I concur with you for us not to take side, but to play a role of uniting the community to be one, so that we need to, at the end, have a proper structure that will represent. But Chair, let me just say to the community and the department, we believe, or I believe, that there's no vacuum for leadership. We need to take into consideration that in the absence of a committee, there must be always be a place where even the appointed administrator needs to go and report or make her or his proper plannings. But Chair, let me also appreciate the working plan that the Department of Rural Development has presented to us. It shows that they have a way forward. But at the same time, let us conscientize them to stick to their dates, because apparently now I think our role, we must not make more comments that will be decisive, as you have said, but let's stick to the plans that they have so that the community can have a proper structure or a proper representations elected that will be legitimate, so that we need to unfold processes or the court decision. Chairperson, not forgetting that at the end of the month, we'll be going to Richfield. We believe we'll meet both community members, those who are not at the same place, and hoping when we will be meeting with them or will be doing our oversight, they will be came to their senses. But all in all, Chair, we appreciate the processes that have been, or plans that has been put in place as presented to us. And we are also appealing to the community that is here today to represent, be it all the communities or none. But we are saying to them, take it into consideration, the presentation or the work in progress that is being done by the department and the administrator, and try to find it upon themselves to resolve this issue on their best interest and the interest of the mine. Chair, let me pause there. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Phiri. Honorable Kwangwa. Honorable Kwangwa is not there. Honorable Komani. Honorable Komani. Is Honorable Komani not here? Okay. Honorable Clark.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have been covered in some retrospect by my colleague, Member Kachalia. There are just a couple of further questions I would like to ask. I mean, I was looking at that Richterveld Interim Committee report that was sent to us on the Gebodo report. I'd like to know if Centure has still got marine concession from the PSJV. If you could just confirm that to me. And then also, you know, I would also like to know, you know, this issue's been going on for a very long time, done some good reading about it. And, you know, the court decision in 2007, I'd like to know, since that ruling, what benefit does the stakeholder as the Richterveld community actually had, you know? And how many times have they been consulted during this period of time? I mean, it's not that this thing has happened since 2019. It's been going on for a very long time, you know, and therefore I find it quite ironic that we blame COVID once again in terms of this issue. So I'd like to know what was actually done since 2007 in order to bring this community on board and to ensure that they benefit that was rightfully theirs. You know, my heart goes out to this community, and I'm very happy to hear that we will be doing an oversight there, because, you know, communities like these were oppressed for many years during the apartheid era. And, you know, when you read this kind of issue that's been going on for a long time, you have to sympathize with people's plight, you know, people that really need this kind of investment to make their communities work. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Clark. Now is Honorable Dlamini. Honorable Dlamini.
Thanks, Chair. I think I have two issues to raise. One has been partly covered in terms of the locus standi of this interim committee. that is speaking, that is communicating on behalf of the people, not necessarily representing the people. I don't know what that means, but that's what we've been given. The other issue, most of the issues that are being raised, at face value, it appears that they rest with the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy when you want to address the issues of beneficiation and whatnot. I understand the process started as a land claim process, but the issues of beneficiation should also involve the Department of Energy and Minerals. I don't know why that department is not part of this meeting. That's the two questions that I have, Chairperson. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Damini. Honorable Malinga. Is Honorable Malinga here? I think I did see Honorable Malinga. Okay. Yeah, Honorable Malinga is supposed to be. But okay, let's go to Honorable Shabalala.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Let me greet everybody in the meeting, members of parliament, the department of public enterprise led by the deputy minister, but also the community of Richtersveld with its own leadership. I think, look, Chair, from a procedural pairs point of view, from our side, as intermediary at this point, is to listen and hear the two parts of the story. What is the situation? And therefore, as a committee, then we come together and we make our own recommendations or have a discussion what we think should happen moving forward. But notwithstanding the fact that we had planned already to go to Richtersveld so that we are able to meet everybody and get the true reflection of the entire situation with all the communities. So I think it's something that we just have to note what we've received and the responses as well of the department. But I want to also say to maybe just 2 points that I want to raise from the department point of view, especially the DDG responsible in the land for this community. You know, I want to ask just a simple question that says, what are the softer issues that we can resolve? Is there anything as well with the public enterprise? Is there anything that we would have gained or assessed in this situation? What are the softer things that we can respond to as a matter of urgency? So we don't wait. Some of the things that if you listen carefully, it's a matter of communication. And I think that there's something that as government at times, we don't really put much effort in terms of doing that. So I want to find out from them, they must tell us what are the issues that they think they can cover and be able to respond to speedily. And secondly, to the Richtersveld community representative, I want to ask a simple question as well. Is there still mining there? And you will understand why I'm asking the question. Because we are responsible to ensure that the business is lucrative, the business is benefiting, be the community, but the business is able to be self-sufficient. And what we are getting in this instance is a notion that says that the business is not looking good. So I want to ask them a simple question. What will happen if this business were to close down? And I'm not saying it will close down. I want to understand from their side, as a community, what is it that they're doing to assist the process, but to ensure that this business is working as well, beside issues of wanting the land part. I want to understand in terms of a business model, that where they are in terms of assisting this business, what is it that they can do, they think they can do to assist and ensure this business does not close down, or this business continues to serve the community where it's at, but also to make us understand from where they are, because they reside there, we don't, to say, is this business lucrative? Is there still business there? Because you would hear other people saying, no, there's no more business, maybe it must close down, it must be sold. So we would need to understand just from their side, in a layman point of view, Do they think this business is still there? Is it worth saving? And must we continue with this business? But with them, I want to say, as Judith Chabalala, Member of Parliament from the African National Congress, sorry, we're really interested to understand. We want to come to them. We want to assist where we can as members of parliament, but we also need to understand what is it that they are also doing, contributing positively to assist the situation as well. The last point, Chair, I think maybe moving forward, this is to us as the portfolio committee. I just want to propose for your indulgence from your side that when we started the lockdown, because we even extended the hours of our meetings to 3 hours so that everybody can speak, and you would see at times you would call members and members are not here. It's us who took that decision that Chair call everybody, but maybe we must go back, because now life is it's starting to go back to its normality. We must utilize that system that says people must raise their hand who want to speak, because other colleagues would have been covered, so that we are able to minimize and save time, and also give some of us, your Judith Chabalala's, time to when they speak, 3 minutes per member, and that way you are able to cut us and we're able to allow the conversation and allow yourself, because you're going to travel to parliament, so that you are able to have time to attend the sitting. So it's something that I think you need to consider moving forward. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Shabalala. I think I missed Honorable Mkwanazi. Honorable Mkwanazi? Honorable Mkwanazi, are you in the meeting? Okay. Let's leave it there, honorable members. Can we go to...
She is in the meeting.
But she's not responding. Maybe she's having connection problems also. Let us go to the department, honorable members. Mr. Moketi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Chair, in terms of the question relating to progress to date, I'm going to request your indulgence, Chair, to allow the administrator to respond to that, because he's the one who's dealing directly with the issues. Chairperson, in terms of the issue raised by I think it's Honorable Shabalala on the softer issues, I think our presentation was very clear to say that as soon as the issue of the membership list, has been adopted by the community itself, I mean, all other things, will be done, Chairperson. If it means we'll have to review some of our dates, in terms of the timeframes, bringing them forward, Chairperson, not to postpone them further, but bringing them forward, that is going to happen, Chairperson. Of course, we'll be guided by operation that will be receiving from the community. But our main issue here, Chairperson, is the adoption of this, of the list. As soon as it's adopted, then we'll be starting with immediate effect to prepare, for the election of the executive committee, so that when the committee comes into office, we anticipate that it will be by around June. Then the committee will work hand in glove with the administrator, so that when his term expires, the committee will now be able to deal with their own affairs. So, Chair, from my side, I think those are the issues that I captured, except that all the constructive inputs of other members, we have noted them. Yes, Chairperson. If you allow, Chair, can I request Mr. Majid to come in and talk to progress today?
Mr. Majid.
Good morning, all attendees of this meeting. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, audible. You're audible, sir.
Thank you. Yes, thanks for this opportunity to allow me to speak to you with regard to the progress made by the administrator. It was lined out earlier by the various speakers that I was appointed I was not appointed. Actually, it was my firm, Honey Attorneys in Bloemfontein, that was appointed during February, March last year. And unfortunately, the one member of parliament mentioned that let's not blame COVID this time. But it is a reality that unfortunately I could only visit the areas during October last year. It was a very fruitful visit in the sense that I could familiarize myself with the 4 communities that are applicable here, and that I could also familiarize myself with what is happening at, for instance, Alex School, at the agricultural company, and all these other entities. As far as progress is concerned, the finalization of the list is at this stage a priority. Unfortunately, because of the fact that I could not timeously visit these communities and familiarize myself with what's going on there, we could only start working on finalization of the list during October last year. We have now finalized the list, and this list will be presented at the AGM that's taking place on the 23rd and 24th of March this year. So community members will be able to give their inputs as far as the membership lists are concerned, and we hope that the list can be adopted at this AGM in order for us to finalize the preparation of the elections. Elections will then be held in terms of the supply chain processes, and in this regard, the Department of Rural Development can comment more fully. Mr. Itumaleng from the department will be able to attend to this. But the intention is to hold elections for the election of the executive committee of the CPA, as well as the directors and trustees of the various other entities. One of the biggest concerns at this stage is what is currently happening at Alexco. You have now listened to the representatives of the communities, the problems that they have outlined, and hopefully if the elections are successful, a new board for the RMC can be constituted who will be in a position to address all these problems at Alexco, for instance. The other entities will also be able to address their various concerns and problems. Unfortunately, it is not part of the duties of the administrator. The department has actually presented to you all the PowerPoint presentation this morning that goes hand in hand with the court order when the CPA was placed under administration, setting out the functions of the appointed administrator. Like I've said, our firm was appointed as administrator, and I am currently the representative of the firm attending to this matter. I'm not sure what other aspects I should attend to, what other aspects I should address, but I just wanted to make it clear that we are determined to have the elections as soon as possible, and also to allow the various entities to attend to all the outstanding aspects and problems in these entities. We are also having special general meetings during April this month with the community. I'm not certain if the notices have gone out. I know the notices with regard to the AGM has already been distributed to the 4 communities. But we also intend to have those meetings during April, where a lot of the problems that was referred to by Mr. Kluter on behalf of the community will be addressed, and where further information will be provided to these communities. We also intend to address certain other outstanding aspects and questions of the community at our AGM, and I ask the communities to bear with us and give us the opportunity to attend to this on a proper basis. I'm not sure if Itumeleng wants to add anything from the department side, but that is as far as I can comment at this stage. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, through you, if Mr. Mashune can just briefly, add to what Mr. Majid said, then I think we'll be done as a department in terms of responding. Mr. Mashune?
Thank you, Chairperson, and good afternoon to all members of Portfolio Committee. I think Mr. Majid has covered some of the important parts, but I wanted to suggest that what Honorable Member Carol Peary has suggested, to say that we be given an opportunity to implement the plan as we've presented today. And that plan, of course, it will still be presented to the community on the 23rd and the 24th for them to give inputs and for them to approve the plans. Additional to that would be probably something that we will need to improve on as the department, is probably as a way of improving communication rather than waiting for general meetings as required by the Constitution. We should develop something like a newsletter which can be shared monthly with the community as a way of improving on information. But we are working on getting things done. And by the time the portfolio committee will come for a site visit, although for now, administratively, we've done most of the work, just that it's not yet visible to the community. They will remember that even the administrator, when he started, we didn't get the handover from the previous committee, which was also a challenge. And most of the work, we had to start doing the assessment, what is there on the ground. So I want to propose that through you, Chair, to say let's accept, or the committee must accept the plan as presented, and it will also be presented on the 23rd and the 24th for further inputs from them. And further to that, as the department, we should develop monthly newsletters for them to keep them updated. Thanks, Chair.
Okay. Can we go to the Department of Public Enterprise?
Thank you, Chairperson. I will give over to Mr. Lemogampitse, the CEO of Alexco, to address some of the issues regarding the appointment of the representation on the PSJV board. But I just want to highlight one, maybe we haven't really highlighted the issue that the community has over 350 million in a trust account that is sitting there. And those funds were supposed to assist the community in projects that the community proposed to the trust, and it was supposed to assist the community in other, community upliftment project. However, that money is not being utilized. It's being, I think funds are being drawn by the trustees for the management. So there is funds in addition to the 45 million that the community has access to, but has not yet utilized fully. Thank you. I'll give over to Mr. Bizwe to talk to the PSJV.
Thank you, Namoroma. I think let me start with the question that was raised by Honorable Matt Judith Chavalala, saying, how is the community assisting? I think what I want to paint in the picture, most people know what happened before, but we are sitting now. When I started to be involved with PSJV, because I wasn't literally involved until the old board and the previous management was made to move. We took over and this company had a debt of 120 million. Now we're sitting at, as of January, we're sitting at around 55 million. Now, the community member, I don't think they appreciate what we're doing because they don't see the profits. But there were a lot of companies, genuine companies that were working here, that were not paid. There were people who were retrenched that were not retrenched, or that were not paid. We have since done majority of those things. We have paid people who were retrenched in 2018, 2019, and 2020, because that was the backlog that the previous management left. But because of the animosity of people retrenched and without being paid, the community is now pulling the opposite direction instead of teaming up with management of the mine so that we can take this business to another level. And the truth is we are operating, even though in tough times, we have managed to pass the COVID pandemic and managed to do what we can do as little as possible. Further to that, I would really admire if the community can start putting positive energy into this process, maybe through the administration as well, because that's the only recognizable way to do now. But even without the administrator, Alesco is still helping the farmers or the farming project with everything that we can, with the little money that we have, just so that the activities at the farming side do not stop. There was a question about the members of the joint board. Before my time, I was told that because of the non-legitimate members of the CPA, the then Alexco and the PSJV board decided to go to court and get a court interdict so that they can appoint the 3-member PSJV board members to represent the board, to represent the community side of things, which does not necessarily mean it's people from the Rechtersveld. Now, previously, it was Ntatechas Marman, Gideon Oliphant, and Mem Monica Mongaol. Their term expired in 2019, and then the new ones that were appointed were, as per what we have loved to go, Mr. Bran Khuloblar, who is a mining engineer and used to sit in the Alesco board, Mr. Raymond Maboe, who is a CA, and Ms. Adelaide Ranapi, who is actually a mining and legal specialist. So those people are there, and their term is extendable on year basis, pending the AGM or whatever that's going to happen between the CPA and an administrator. It is in the court order that once the CPA is fully functional, they've got the right to appoint their people on the board. So it's not a done deal that those people are not going to be allowed. The problem that the other community members mention is that how do they communicate back to the community? I think for now, what we do, we send information back to the administrator as the only recognizable route that we can do. We don't have any community structures that we can talk to before the AGM, and after the AGM, maybe things will change because we'll then have proper direction. There was a question again asked by Ndadeka Kalia that says, how Dion Bowers was hired because he's Mervyn Casten's brother-in-law. Unfortunately, that's the case. Dion Bowers married the younger sister to Marvin Casten's sister. But the funny thing is, Dion is a qualified geologist and Mervyn Casten was not a mining person or a mining engineer. And people accepted that a non-specialist was a person leading the role. Now that we've got a specialist who happened to marry in the same family that he married, people are questioning the merit. But Dion worked for Alesco between the period of 2011 and 2016 before the same Mr. Casten expelled him from the team for whatever reason known between Mr. Casten and his team there. So I'm just saying, if the community can start giving us the chance and start depersonalizing issues and look at the team, all the qualified, skilled people who are running the mine were retrenched by the previous management. We're trying to build this team so that this mine, as Tata said, can be sustainable for the future. And again, I hope that support will come from the same community that is opposing each and every move that we're trying to do. The other issue was, what are the low-hanging fruits that can be done in the meantime while people are between ourselves and municipality and the CPA, sorry, the administration? We have started the process of handing over the hospital, police station, the health, sorry, the schools, everything that is not non-mining related. We have engaged the provincial government, and those properties are, as we're talking, currently being in the transition. Because of COVID, the state attorneys and the property sections of the government, they were not functional until late last year. So that delayed the whole process. But we are now on the roll. We've paid exactly what we needed to do for conveyancing. And then those, what we call low-hanging fruit projects, should be transferred to the government entities. Then the only outstanding things are going to be your houses and everything that is community related. But with the administrator being appointed, we think that that process will start happening soon, because the only thing that we couldn't start negotiations was because we didn't have anybody to speak to. I hope I've covered most of the things, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Wahang. Can we, honorable members, can we get the Deputy Minister wrapping up before I come up with a summary as to what should happen?
Chairperson?
What's that now?
Oh, my apologies, Chair. My apologies. I don't have a facility that will show that I want to say something. It's Khozo Mwegezi from Northern Cape.
Okay.
Just in brief, Honorable Chair, and I'm glad that the CEO of Alexo has raised this issue of the provincial government of the Northern Cape. They are part of the task team, you know, the Rechtersveld task team. I will suggest that at some point the committee, the portfolio committee, should really consider inviting the provincial government through the Director General in the office of the Premier to also come and talk about this Rechtersveld issues, Chair. That's what I wanted to say, Chair. Thank you very much.
Okay. Deputy Minister?
Yeah, I'm fully covered. I don't have anything to say. Safe to say that perhaps going forward, the immediate thing is the resolution of the community representation, the proper community representation, and we will do our part in supporting the efforts in that direction, so that we can have closure there, so that the community can be adequately represented in all the facets of what is taking place in the area, in keeping with the deed of settlement. That's all I can say for now, Chair. And you were right in pointing out that this shouldn't be an opportunity for some politicking. We must really deal with the problem at hand, and I hope we could find that spirit amongst the committee members.
Chair.
Thank you, DM. Honorable members, I think now all what we need to do from here is to assist both the department, Alexco, in order to unify the community of the Rechterveld to have proper representation, which will consist of all stakeholders and relevant people in that particular community, to deal with all the problems that have been raised by the community in front of us that attended our meeting. The issues around interim structure, the non-representativity of that particular structure, the reporting to that community and the involvement of that community in the day-to-day running. They're supposed to know what is the state of every interest of theirs in that particular structure. And then we find a structure that will be able to coordinate everything in that committee and update the committee on a daily basis on what is happening. I think that's what even our visit as a portfolio committee in our oversight to that committee must be all about. It must be about also creating some kind of a unity among the structure. Our involvement in the portfolio committee should be more to do with unifying that particular community so that they come as a concrete force with interest in that particular entity. Otherwise, if we don't resolve that matter, we won't be even able to deal with other issues about administration and the problems of Alexco as an entity that falls under our jurisdiction. Therefore, until we resolve that matter, we won't be able to have a way forward. Therefore, our next session, when it comes to this, will be to brief this committee. We have to meet this committee and give a feedback together with both departments and the portfolio committee into those communities. Therefore, we will be working towards that. Whether this coming date, which is a tentative date we are having in front, will be relevant or not, we will see as we prepared for that particular session to deal with the matters. We have understood the issues raised by the committee, and we are taking into consideration all those issues that they have raised. And ours is to assist this community to deal with those problems so that they have an access and the knowledge of what is happening at Alexco. They are part and parcel of that entity to guide or to look after their own interest as people who have rights, mineral rights in that particular entity. I think that's the end of our session, honorable members. Thank you so much.
Chair, please, before you end the session, the administrator made an interjection. I'd like to ask him some questions. We are only at 12:15 and the sitting is at 3. I think this is important. I have a question for the administrator.
After we have summarized can you write that to her? Write that down to him. Thank you. The session is adjourned, honorable members.
This is unacceptable.
So what is it,